I'm 34 years old. Students for a Democratic Society. That's who's got the energy here, you know, the students. I've been protesting the war since 6 months before it started, and I'm going to keep coming out here.
In the early 1960s, a U.S. program called the New Left was created to apply a wide range of reforms, including labor, organization, and the questioning of social class. All of this was happening during the Vietnam War, and at this time, in the eyes of the people, the image and reputation of the United States was drastically falling. Under the New Left, there were many organizations that began to make an impact, one of them being the Students for Democratic Society, which was led mainly by the youth. The goal of this society was mainly to promote equality, economic justice, and to remake the American government. But when America officially became involved with the Vietnam War, the attention of the students was drawn to the anti-war movement in 1965.
There's no way to be committed to nonviolence in the middle of the most violent society that history's ever created. I'm not committed to nonviolence in any way.
Focus was turned solely on anti-war activists. The SDS was established around the early 1960s under a young man named Alan Haber. The SDS also drew in a second leader named Tom Hayden. Under their leadership, together the first official meeting took place in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Soon after, their society introduced the political policy called the Port Huron Statement. This statement greatly criticized America's political system because the members believed it did not achieve the national peace they desired.
To Port Huron Statement, the founding document of SDS. The statement advocated for participatory democracy and helped launch the student movement of the 1960s. Tens of thousands of copies of the 25,000-word document were printed in booklet form.
As this group reached more people, their numbers increased rapidly. Different displays of revolt increased, such as sit-ins and other types of protests, making it the leading student organization against the war on most U.S. campuses. On April 17, 1965, the SDS took place in the March on Washington to influence people as well as the government to end the war in Vietnam. Around 25,000 protesters were present. Shortly after, on April 26, close to 1 million students joined the strike and conducted several sit-ins, protests, and teach-ins. This turned into the largest student strike in the history of the U.S. Fall 1969, SDS was split into two underground groups. Due to rise of other student-driven programs, most of the SDS was almost non-existent by 1970. After splitting, a new organization called the Weather Underground was formed. The goal was to create a revolutionary party for the violent overthrow of the U.S. government. This group held conventions throughout the 70s to promote anti-racism and to make a name for them. Today, the program still exists and has progressed greatly and has become a nationwide symbol for equality and anti-war protest among youth. Some of the national projects they have been involved in are the Economic Research and Action Project and the Peace Research and Education Project. Tom Hayden moved to California, served in the state senate, and remains involved in politics.